Hello, hello. How is everyone doing today? And we'll see how we're doing on the tech side of things. It's funny when I used to stream, or when we started streaming, there was like such a big delay between talking and the chat, and I'm still not used to it. So yes, I'm so excited that you're excited. And yeah, the Virate Spirit Visualizer 3D is here. But yeah, I'm trying something out. Something I had in my head for a while. Obviously, I had a version of this a really long time ago, and I just wanted to update it a little bit. And oh yeah, and it's actually tracking my head. Even though it's kind of funny because my mic's in the same place, or is in a locked place, so I'm realizing I'm probably not going to move my head that much, but we're doing something new. We're doing something exciting. So yeah, happy PlayStation Day. Distance console edition. Distance console. Wow, that's actually kind of hard to say out loud. Console edition. And yeah, it's here. It took a little while, but you know, it's it's finally here. Man, it's been a week. It's been a month. Um, but I'm really happy to be back here. And when I was tweeting about, or posting somewhere about the stream, I clicked the link to go to the page and realized I hadn't actually streamed in 5 years, which seems insane. But I think we're working now. I think hopefully the audio's coming through clear, and the video's okay. Another advantage in waiting 5 years is the technology got a little bit better, so that's pretty cool. Yeah. So basically, I'm not seeing any issues. Thank you for confirming that things seem to be okay on the viewer end, and yeah. So I guess the plan for today is I'm going to answer any questions I can about PlayStation development, and the Kinetic update. And I've already posted a pretty lengthy blog post about the PlayStation development, some of the specific issues we ran into. But there's also a lot of like cool stuff I haven't really talked about too much, like the haptics, and just miscellaneous, fun little features. I mean, obviously the main thing for myself as a video game player over the years, I've definitely been pivoting towards playing more on consoles, just because of the convenience of it. And it's just kind of interesting how, you kind of get used to it, even though Steam has made things so much easier, big picture and Steam Link and all that good stuff. But yeah, it's definitely like just really, really nice being able to just click on the game straight from the main menu and just you're in a mode, with like the PS5 activities features. You can just jump straight into where you left off in the campaign, or you can just jump straight into like snow mode or something. And it's with the load times, it's super fast, so very convenient and nice. And then yeah, the Steam Deck, and obviously like the Steam Deck, it's kind of interesting that you could play it on the Linux version or the Windows version. So I think the vast majority of people up until now were playing the Windows version. But I finally got the Linux version, hopefully, up to the same level of quality. It's actually got the haptics now built in as well, even though they're pretty minimal. It's basically, like just a little bit of vibration. The Steam Deck vibration it's interesting. It's like they really couldn't go that crazy with it, clearly, because it's all one device. But yeah, it's fun to use. And then yeah. So anyways, I'm already going off into a tangent. But yeah, the overarching thing today was just to talk about any questions people had about development, and then play through some of the game. Obviously, I'm running on the PS5 here, but I guess I should have a little tiny warning, which is that I'm on the dev kit, so it's not connected to the internet properly, and there might be some random networking warnings that come up because I'm not connected to the leaderboards. It was obviously just a lot more convenient to connect to the dev kit for the sake of streaming instead of my own personal PS5. I'll admit I was a tiny bit lazy because it's just it's going to be a bit of work to like take that whole thing apart and move it into the office. But yeah. Okay, so I'm just going to start playing through the campaign. And obviously, if you've seen the game before, nothing too crazy. And since we're streaming, it's not going to be 4K. Still waiting for the 4K streaming to happen, but the 4K thing for me, I mean, obviously you could play 4K on PC before, but there's something really magical about just being able to play the game on a console like at this frame rate with it running this well. And that was like a weirdly cool part of working with the PS5 was just the load times, everything. For the price you're paying for the console, it's pretty amazing, at least to me. And yeah, one thing I'm really tempted to do today, because I had to do it so much through the testing process, was to unlock a bunch of other stuff, like the Lost to Echoes unlocks. And since those are required now to get the platinum trophy, I feel like it's probably a little bit less of a secret than it used to be. But yeah, very tempting to go unlock the Interceptor and the crab world. Seeing question about how long regarding how long it took for the PS4/PS5 version to finally come out. How much of that time was because of Sony's certification process? I mean, technically, you could say the entire thing is the Sony certification process. I mean, basically, in terms of like getting the tech and stuff working, Andrew was working on a lot of that from like the beginning of us announcing on PlayStation to 2018. I guess for the 1.0 launch, there was so much content that had to be optimized, and that was obviously very much a group effort to optimize all the content, because everybody had their own levels, and every level had its own specific issues. And on this level it's particles, on this level it's lights, and there was kind of a benefit, obviously, that the PC players are able to take advantage of the performance improvements as well. But yeah, more than anything, you'd see it on PS4 that it's like, oh, this level's just unplayable now. So back in the day, that you could, I don't know if that's technically a TCR that you have to have it running a specific performance, but that was a huge part of the process. And then obviously I've talked about it a bit on the blog, but I did spend months working on all the various TCRs. They're some of them, I don't know. I mean, even when I like submitted, it was very much like I think I got everything, but a lot of the TCRs just say check through the entire application to make sure that you're good, and it could be anything. So there was just an insane amount of testing to make sure that everything was actually like good. And it's also very different from developing on PC, because we were able to do experimental builds and release things in more of a beta format, and then on PlayStation it's like it's just done. You gotta just have the game done. So that was a lot of time spent. But yeah, more than anything, the biggest delays I'd say over the past, few years. Obviously, I took a break from working on the game entirely for like quite a while. Um, but when I was working on it, the biggest time sinks would have been multiplayer related issues and implementing a bunch of DCRs that basically just ended up being thrown out because they weren't needed anymore. And then I like once again, multiplayer testing is very time consuming. So yeah, I guess I'd have to like kind of go look at the timeline a little bit more, but there was a lot. There was a lot to go through. Crab World. It's not as much of a secret anymore because you like have. I think a lot of people are going to want to get the platinum trophy, so you definitely got to be up to date on your crab stuff. But yeah, the Unity 2020 update. It was technically Unity 2019, and then I moved to Unity 2020, and then I tried 2021 and 2022. And 2020 was the sweet spot, so I ended up sticking with that. And that was definitely time consuming, partially because it was just a lot of tech stuff that I had to become familiar with that I didn't originally work on. So for like one random example is that I remember the most obvious issue switching to 2020 was graphics issues. There were quite a few shaders that just didn't work the same anymore, which isn't a huge surprise. I mean, I'm quite thankful that the lighting engine in the ancient Unity that we were using for years and the new one, like they're basically the same in terms of like it didn't look radically different, thankfully. But there were just a lot of textures that were just this like black. They were just completely gone. It was a very actually I might be able to post a video or screenshot of it at some point where it wasn't like it was like a nice looking black. It was like a black hole black where it was really bizarre. And it's actually been a while since I've worked on that, so I can't remember exactly what caused that. But I just remember it was like some shader issue that was in multiple shaders. Had to figure out what it was. One issue I had to solve somewhat recently this year was I remember I only noticed it in split screen. So that's one of the reasons it actually took me a while to even realize that there was an issue, was that we have this thing that we implemented internally. It's just called fast fog, which just means that normally when you're playing the game and you're looking at the skybox, the area around the game, level editor people know what I'm talking about. The skybox is actually 3D. So if you have objects that are sitting out there, even though you can never like get close to them, you can still have them animate, you can move. The level chroma is a really good example of one of the coolest uses of that, where it's just got this really cool animation and it's changing colors and it just adds a lot of life to the levels instead of it just being a flat image that's just off in the distance. Did not realize that, well, I guess I should explain what fast fog is. Fast fog was the instead of it being animated, it's just static. It does take a screenshot of it, and then now that way it's not having to render it. And the biggest reason we implemented that was because in split screen, the viewport is so small that you really wouldn't even notice that it's not animating. Some levels it's more obvious than others. But I'm assuming that was Andrew that implemented that, even though I think Jason worked on it too. Where it's the much more performant version where it's not animating. Anyways, long story short, in split screen, for whatever reason, one of the sides would not render, and I didn't even realize. So you would be playing the game, and then there'd just be this mysterious blue box off in the distance, and we're like, what is that blue box of doom that's just always out there? And it's like, oh, it just didn't render that side of things. So yeah. Yeah, there was so much random stuff like that, and it was always like just starting off being like, why does everything else work but this one little thing doesn't? There were a lot of little things. And another example would be physics related stuff. Thankfully, the vast majority of the physics actually seemed to be totally fine. But triggers, for whatever on earth reason, are just basically different in the new Unity. They don't act quite the same. There's a lot of stuff that we were depending on where if you like teleported inside a trigger and then you like left it. So for example, if you're being warped around like a warp anchor, a lot of this stuff isn't going to make sense to anyone who's not using the level editor. But I guess I'm kind of responding to people who do. But I'll try to be quick. But basically, yeah, you go inside. You're like in a warp anchor, or you hit a warp anchor. You're teleported to an area. You're now inside that trigger volume, and then I think it was like going inside would work, but then when you would leave, it would have no idea. So like so much stuff broke with that, and it really took me forever to figure it out. And it, of course, in classic fashion, it wasn't that complicated in the end. But, or, the solution wasn't that complicated, but, finding the solution was tough. So yeah, that was a lot. I didn't obviously want to get super deep into the blog post, because I'm sure that would be very long and very boring to go through all the random bugs. Had to update our audio engine multiple times because, certain versions of Unity only work with certain versions of Wise. Oh, and then another thing was the 64-bit update, which was kind of a positive thing in that for the longest time we had a few random things that just wouldn't work with 64-bit. And we're just like, well, the game works perfectly fine and runs perfectly fine in 32-bit. So, there's not really a huge issue to move to 64-bit. And then, Mac obviously made the full tilt requirement for things to be 64-bit. And then PlayStation requires 64-bit. So that finally gave me the push to just fully switch over everyone. So, and I'm happy that people were seemingly able to get something out of that. I didn't really expect it to be, hopefully, if I did my job right, everything's exactly the same as it was before. And yeah, it has been definitely difficult to like test split screen, just kind of answering another question with 4 people. Shout out to Ellie, who should be in the chat somewhere. She's in another room here, but she might drop by at some point. She was a huge help in terms of testing split screen, testing tons of stuff. She's been the MVP of this release, proofreading every single marketing thing and whatever I'm sending out. So massive shout out to her. But there was a few times where we had to test split screen, and I'm like, okay, I have my 2 controllers. You have your 2 controllers. All right, let's pretend like we're 4 people. And it turns out that's almost impossible when you have to flip onto walls and, do stuff. So that was an interesting challenge. But because really, at the end of the day, I mean, one of our tricks was you can turn on the invert boost setting, and then it'll automatically boost. So at least you can not have to think about that one thing. And then you really just want all of the cars moving at top speed to get the best test of performance, obviously, because the field of view opens up a ton, and then that actually makes everything run way slower. And that was a really interesting part of, I remember forever ago, that was a huge problem with just performance in general. And it's kind of just a pro tip for anyone who's working on this kind of game. Do not do what we did, where the game starts off at, a low field of view, and then when you speed up your car, all of a sudden the field of view is super wide. And you might be like, well, obviously it looks okay, so what's the problem? It's a nice trick for, getting an instant sense of speed, and for the most part that part works. But the main issue is that once your field of view is so wide, now you can see so much more of the level, and now you have performance issues. Obviously it can also distort, anything on the edge of the screen, so that can kind of look funky. But Yeah, camera culling. It's cool. It's fun. Yeah. What else? I know. I'm just trying to think of things that were like. I mean, I remember we had so many issues. There were just a handful of adventure mode levels and a handful of Lost to Echoes levels that just had crazy performance issues a really long time ago. And obviously those were all addressed, but a big part of it was just even, you know, you let people kind of go wild. And obviously the workshop is another example of this. I think luckily the game runs pretty well, but like I'm sure there are plenty of workshop levels that can cause big performance issues because there's not any limits. You can just, if you want a trillion objects, you can put a trillion objects, and maybe the 64-bit thing will actually make it so that is even less of an issue. But at the end of the day, object count is a huge one. I remember really long time ago. Speaking of Sector 11, I was really obsessed with having shadows in the levels and trying to figure out how to do that. But we don't have, and I'm not sure if there's like a beeping sound in the background that you may or may not be able to hear. So apologize if that's happening. But there's my uninterruptible power supply is becoming interruptible and it needs to have a battery replaced. Anyways, there's a good chance you can't even hear that. But what was I saying? Yeah, object count, and then shadows was a massive one where we don't have the ability to bake shadows. So basically, in modern engines, modern games, you basically would have it set up so that you render out all of the lights potentially with ray casting and have the light bounce around all around the room, save into like the textures on the walls and the floors and everything. You can save out the lighting, but that also includes as many shadows as you want. The downside, of course, is that you can't change any of that in real time. So most games try to employ some sort of hybrid. Well, not most, but like a lot of games would try to do a hybrid of baked shadows, baked lighting, and dynamic lighting to kind of bridge the gap between the two. And Distance is really old, and or at least it's, you know, it was a combination of we didn't have experience with baked lighting, and it was not as prevailing of a thing when we started working on the game. So we're like, okay, fine, everything will be dynamic lights. And obviously the massive downside to that is performance. And then on top of that, this is such a great example, like this area over here, you can turn on higher quality or detailed lights, I think we called it. And then you can have more shadows. And obviously, since it's a decently performing game and it's a bit older and people have good computers, a lot of people can just play with all those shadows, but not on PS4. So that was definitely one of those things where it's like trying to find the balance between just getting it to look as good as we possibly can while being able to still match the requirements there. I mean, I'm like focused on the game. I gotta check out the chat here. Oh yeah, sorry. I can turn up the beeping if that would be preferred. Obviously, joking. New tracks, new music. Yeah. So, good question. So the song that I was working on for the new trailer, it definitely started off as a Project 2 song and kind of changed. I went through a few different versions and then kind of just accidentally stumbled across the version that ended up, you know, basically being a remix of Isolation, which is, I've had like a few different remix ideas for Isolation over the years, so this was one of the many. I just really want, I don't know why, but for the longest time I've just always wanted that like really deep, heavy pounding bass at like with the low tempo and everything. So that was super fun to work on. Oh, there. Now this beep, on the other hand, that's actually coming out of the controller. All right, we'll stop that. So yeah, and in terms of the controller speaker, I experimented a ton, and there's definitely more that could be done with the controller speaker, but it's tough because, it's like it kind of pulls you out of the experience to just randomly have some random sound in the world. At one point I had like a lot of the ability sounds on the controller, and so I kept it pretty minimal for now. There's some sounds, some adventure mode sounds. I think if you unlock a special secret, it may play a sound on the controller, but I kept that pretty minimal. I already got off topic. Oh yeah, the music. So yeah, so I definitely want to release that song, that the full length version of that song at some point. And I guess I don't really want to get too deep into that today because that's an announcement for another time. But I definitely have a little bit of a plan of releasing new music and kind of the way I'm going to be releasing it. And more than anything, I just kind of I'm just excited. I've worked on a few new songs for the new project, and a couple of them, I mean, for the most part, it's not radically different from Distance, but it's definitely experimenting with a few different styles and maybe a few new instruments. So, oh, there goes my front. I was going to try to rotate the car around so you could see the front, but I realized that I didn't have the thrusters just yet. So yeah, new music definitely coming not too long from now. And yeah, I think that's all I'm probably going to say about it today. And maybe I'll have another stream at some point where I can also talk about music development and show some of that stuff. Were there any workshop levels cut due to performance? I'm going to say definitely. One of the biggest things that also, once again, took a lot of time. It's kind of the one thing with this game that's kind of funny is I love that there's so much content, especially, how when we released in early access, I think we had like 6 levels or 8 levels. I don't even know. It wasn't obviously that much. And now there's over 150 levels in arcade alone. And it's great. I love having that much variety. I love being able to integrate different types of gameplay. Anyone who's pushing the boundaries of gameplay, it's super cool to me. So I'd love to share that with more people. But just the process of going through those levels, it really was a combination of finding levels that, kind of fit with, the sets and provide something new and fresh for the players, but also having to run smooth. And that was just kind of a hard no for a few levels that I really did want to include, but they just would require so much optimization. So maybe could do something with them down the road, but I had so many to, go through that it was like, okay, well, I probably shouldn't obsess over a couple levels, now when I can, there's just so many to choose from. But there's definitely a couple that, and even refract levels, there's a couple levels that I did have to remove from split screen, specifically White Lightning Returns, I think. I remember talking to Eddie about it and being like, I don't think I can include it just at all on the PlayStation because I don't know if the performance is good enough. But I'm like, oh, the level's so cool. Like, we have to include it somehow. So the compromise was that I don't think it's in split screen, but it is in single player. People asking for a crumb of Project 2. And honestly, I would so love to talk about it. So much. I would love to just dump everything out because I basically have got like 2 years of work on it. And it's been it's not been like a super, it's not going to be like Distance 2 years of work. It's 2 years of like exploratory work, trying to figure out what it is and what it could be. And a huge part of it is story. So I guess that's a crumb. There's a story, and it's like really critical to the whole thing. At least with what I have been working on, which is new music, a prototype, and lots of story development. But seeing as how today is distance PlayStation Day, and I'm a little announced out I don't know if that sentence makes any sense, but I'm a little I've done enough announcing for 1 week, so I think we'll hold off on Project 2, but it's right now it's insane. Like, it's probably too much and too crazy, and a lot of it was me throwing a lot at the wall and just seeing if anything sticks. So that's another part of it. Is I could obviously talk about all these different elements of it, but refining it into like the really singular thing that I think it needs to be in the end, that's when it's going to be worth talking about, is when we know what that is exactly. So yes, there'll probably be music, there'll probably be cool graphics, and a story of some sort. Oh man. Yeah, Impact not making the cut. I think performance was a big part of that one. There might have been another glitch or something, but I definitely have dreams of adding more levels to Distance. It's kind of the classic. You go through, you play all these levels, either a good example is like Get in the Hole. A lot of those levels, I just know right now, if I, requiring you to get a gold medal on those levels so that you can like get the gold medal trophy achievement, would be kind of insane. But obviously we did include Glide in the Hole, which is already kind of crazy. So that some of that stuff is like, there's some aspects of that I think we have to take into account. But I definitely have more levels I want to include. There's a couple like really crazy weird levels that probably don't even have medals. I think probably everyone knows what level I'm talking about. That I would love to include. So right now, obviously, don't expect any specific level or any specific thing, but I have talked a little bit about wanting to add some like brutally hard levels or just some weird oddball levels, and just need to figure out how that's going to get integrated into arcade. So definitely stay tuned for that. Oh, I probably should look at the screen when I'm playing. And I'm like super on autopilot playing this because I had to play this so many times with the testing. I'm sorry if I missed someone's comment. You might need to post it or a question, because I'm not seeing that many questions in the current chat. So feel free to say it again if I missed it. But yeah, man, the community level aspect of it though is always like, I mean, there's so many things I like working on it with Distance. The way the music and the visuals integrate, the gameplay works for me, all that stuff. But like, I think, now that it's been years since the 1.0 launch and, still working on it, I literally just can't believe how cool the community levels are and how they're still amazing and they're basically better than ever. And so it was tough. I really wanted to narrow it down to like 15 levels. I think that's what we ended up including in the Kinetic update. So, just doing that alone was hard, but I definitely told myself in the back of my head, like, it's okay if you don't include it because there's always next time. Right now there is not official, I guess there's no other way there's no VR support on PlayStation. Part of that is because, the vast majority of that is because I don't have the new PSVR headset, and I just decided, kind of like other things with the PlayStation release, let's just get the base game out. Let's just get it, as stable as possible, as smooth as possible. I had to launch on PS4, or not had to, but I chose to launch on PS4 and PS5. But that obviously doubled the work, so that was one of those things that I just was like, okay, I should know my limits. But I'm definitely interested in going and trying to figure out if VR is still possible. So I can't say that I'm 100% planning on it, but I am planning on looking into it more. So that's what I can say about that right now. You don't need a PlayStation. I don't believe you need a PlayStation Network account to play Distance, but you might need one to buy it. At one point when I was working on the TCRs for the multiplayer, you definitely needed PlayStation Plus to access the multiplayer. But since it's split screen now, you're pretty much good to go. And yeah, the even like split screen, obviously you can play with other players on your console, and that also, for the leaderboards, we made it so that if you, in the very rare case of you having multiple people in your household who are playing the game on separate accounts, you can play against each other's replays and leaderboards and whatnot. So it's just like as if it was on PC local leaderboards. Oh, I knew that was gonna get me. Let's see. A lot of people want Distance merch. You can make your own as long as you don't sell it. I mean, yeah, if I don't know you're making it, then I think probably the main thing is if you were recreating merch that I just realized I'm wearing a Distance shirt. You can't see it, but so if you are making merch that we've already done, I think that would be not cool. Recreating the Kickstarter merch or whatever. But I mean, sorry, I'm getting distracted. It's always fun. Like, I'm on autopilot playing the game, and then randomly get sucked back into the game for a second. After all these years, I still don't really get how streamers do it. Especially if it's a game like Elden Ring or something. But yeah, so I don't know. I guess I hadn't really thought that much about people making their own merch, but let's just say there are some merch plans. Nothing really crazy. So nothing to go really insane about. I'm not making a big announcement today or anything, but that is a really good point that we have been talking about merch stuff. So that is definitely something to keep an eye on in the coming months. And I don't know where it would be released, if it was going to be released. I don't know any of the specifics. We've mostly been talking about what kind of merch we may want to do. So yeah. And Ellie's been a big help with that one. So yeah, so stay tuned. Definitely it's interesting, honestly, being like a software company, and then with the Kickstarter, it really forced us to become like a physical media, or not media, but physical good company a little tiny bit. And the advantage of that is that while I haven't put a lot of effort into it over the past couple of years, definitely the knowledge is still there of going through that experience and seeing what worked and didn't work for us. We obviously had to go through a lot of test t-shirts, and even like I just came up with a design for the Kickstarter forever ago, didn't know if that was even going to work on a t-shirt. So yeah, so I'd love to put some of that knowledge into practice. I probably shouldn't say too much. I'm going to get myself in trouble, but yeah. But yeah, people have heard me talk about it a billion times, but Yes, Distance was a spiritual successor to Nitronic Rush, which was just a random free game made at college. And it was a college for making video games, so it obviously kind of makes sense. But it just happened that we just got really lucky where it like just happened to get a lot of traction when it came out, and as a result, we were able to make Distance. And there's a lot of Nitronic Rush in Distance, including the second campaign is obviously a massive homage to Nitronic Rush. In terms of Rush 2049, that probably was the number one inspiration for Nitronic Rush. So once again, there's going to be a lot of Rush 2049 that I'm sure has like squeaked into Distance. And yeah, DigiPen's in Seattle, specifically in Redmond, which is Microsoft's headquarter area. Do I keep up with the workshop levels? I was fairly up to date a few months ago when I was picking out the levels, but very recently, like 2 days ago or something, I saw a bunch of new levels posted that I hadn't seen before. Whoa. Oh, okay. No wings, no recovery. Yeah, so I am definitely wanting to get re-caught up. I can't remember which one it was. There was one that was like a nighttime one or something. I subscribed to it, so I just need to go back and play it. But I'm definitely looking forward to getting caught up, and maybe I can do another stream where I'm playing through some new levels. So Dreadfest, if that's what it was called. Get a distance body pillow. Okay, well, I hadn't. Sorry, I got distracted with the comments. I did not consider a distance body pillow, so I guess that is something. That is probably not going to happen, but it is an interesting idea. Dreadfest is that the Halloween time frame horror distance levels? Because I feel like I saw that, and I don't know what I was working on. I think I was just getting into distance stuff at the around that time last year, and I like somehow missed it. And I'm like, that is like the coolest thing ever. And I actually maybe I'll just do a stream just to play Dreadfest levels, older Dreadfest levels, because that is so insanely cool. And yeah, I'm not super in the know on that, but in theory that sounds like the coolest thing ever. Thoughts on advent calendar levels? Well, I'm sure at least a few of them, if not many of them, that are integrated into the game now came from the advent calendar. And the only downside is like some of the advent calendar levels are like, some of the coolest ones are ones that just would be so confusing to people, like the Christmas level with all the presents is like so extremely cool, and I'm pretty sure people would be extremely confused because it's all, even I don't get all the references that were packed in there, but a lot of love was put into that. So yeah, there's a lot of that stuff. I love it. It's so cool. Distance card plushie. Oof. Okay, yeah, keep the good ideas coming, even though I know Ellie posted that one. You better write that one down. I have an Octodad plushie and a Companion Cube plushie. I wonder what company they used for that. It's really cool. For people wondering about Project 2, there is really nothing out there right now at all about it. It's even called Project 2 because it doesn't even have... Well, it has an internal code name, but I'm not going to say what that is yet. But yeah, the best place to learn about it would be my Twitter and refract.com. My Twitter being Torched. At Torched. Or at RefractStudios Twitter. Surely post about it there at some point. It'd be, yeah, it would be really funny if I just stuck with Project 2. Seems like that's a very indie move right there. What else? Oh yeah, do I have plans? I did see comments about releasing the 2020 build on Steam, and I kind of get why people would want that, but I also feel like that would be confusing. Because it won't have multiplayer in it, and I mean, obviously it's like virtually identical. If I did my job right, it should be virtually identical to the PC version. So I wasn't planning on it, and I guess one of the things I saw people talk about was that it would be nice for modding, but I'm confused, or not confused, but I think people would be confused. Oh, if you want to play this mod, you have to go play this version of the game that doesn't have multiplayer. And also, I have no idea. There's a really good chance the Steam integration still works with that version, but I wasn't focusing on that at all. I was obviously focusing on the PlayStation integration stuff for like leaderboards and all that. So I don't even know if that works, to be honest. So I would say don't plan on that right now. But I guess I understand why people might want that, because it's not like it would be very hard to push it to that. It's like, once again, a lot of testing, making sure there's a really good chance there's no issues with save data being transferred, but there's also a chance that save data would not transfer. Because I might have changed some stuff specifically for PlayStation, and then if you were to switch between the two, it might have issues. Sadly, Crash is not in the room with me, but if you heard him meowing, I wouldn't be insanely surprised, because he absolutely loves to stand outside my door and meow. it's his number one hobby. Specifically loves to stand outside, or just in the hallway in the heat. I don't know why. So yeah, it's obviously, I think a lot of people are experiencing crazy heat this month, and we're very fortunate to have some air conditioners, but our like shared hallway thing, landing area, whatever you want to call it, does not have air conditioning. So it's like you go into one room, it's a fine temperature. You go into the heat wave hallway, and then you go into another room, and then it's fine, because we're in an apartment type thing. But Crash loves it out in the heat wave hallway. Why? I do not know. And Crash used to not really be a crazy meowing cat, but then for some reason over the past couple of years just became that. So, and every day it's like, what's the issue? What do you want? I think it's just attention. So we give him all the attention we possibly can. Crash is not a shoulder cat, sadly. Crash is not a pickup cat. Though we have tried many times. Okay, so Ellie can do something where she can pick him up, and he will tolerate it without fighting back or doing anything. He will just be there. But that's as good as it gets. He's not gonna like claw your face or anything, but well, at least us. I feel like if anyone else tried it, that would be bad. But for whatever reason, he's definitely in more of a, I'm doing my thing, you're doing your thing, and I want to be around you, and I want you to give me attention, but not too much attention, because that's embarrassing for the both of us. Crash is great, though. Let's see, what else? Yeah, and he does get a little bitey, specifically with Ellie. I don't know why. Like, just, it's go from everything, basically like the most adorable cat ever. And then, yeah, but he's still a punk every once in a while. So, back in the day when the Nolans and all of us were together, they would play pretty crazy with him. He definitely had so much energy. It was like constantly trying to entertain him. And yeah, he's 10 now. 10 years old. So, but he's still crazy energetic. So, still trying to keep up with him. But I was just thinking back in the day, it's like, yeah, so many people giving him attention. And I guess just me and Ellie right now, so we do the best we can to serve him. Oh man, what else? What happened to some of the videos on the Refract YouTube? I can't remember what it was, but there was some reason I was trimming things down on the YouTube. I think I might have overdone it or something. It was like if the video had something in it that I felt like was either not indicative of the current product, it was, I think I was a little concerned about people playing the PlayStation version being confused. The level editor video, I don't know why that would have been taken down. So that might have been a mistake. I know it's not fully up to date, but maybe we really need to make a new one because I think that was really old. Oh man. Sorry, I'm like trying to read the comments. Wait, let me do this. Woo! Okay. Yeah, I definitely have to look into the level editor video thing. Thank you for the heads up. I just had a comment I was going to respond to, and now it is gone. Are there plans for some new features, small quality of life features, or other stuff? Oh my goodness, every time it keeps scrolling away from that. Where to go? Or is the plan just to fix bugs in the Steam forums? I would say expect... Well, I guess don't expect anything. That makes my life a tiny bit easier. But, because obviously it's just, as you might be able to tell from my voice, it's been a long month. A lot of learning, trying to figure out not only the technical side of the PlayStation, but obviously the store and, the new trailer took me longer than I'd like to admit. But it was so insanely fun to work on. So I do not have a concrete roadmap, but I'd say at the bare minimum, I would love to add some more levels in a community level update probably later this year. And those levels, a big part of it is, I think finding levels that people on PlayStation would really appreciate. And I know that a lot of the most interesting workshop levels are really crazy and abnormal at Distance 2. Distance 2 is a workshop level. I should clarify that is not a game name that I know of. But I want PlayStation players to be able to play those levels too. So that's like the main thing I have in the back of my head. And otherwise, I probably will be shifting a lot of, and like I said, VR. I'm probably going to look into trying to see what I can do with that. But I have not, for better or worse, we haven't touched VR on the PlayStation in a really long time. We have really the old dev kits, but I think they kind of made things tough because they changed a lot of stuff, and now I think the new VR only works on PS5, for example, and stuff like that. So I just have a lot of research to still do, but I haven't completely thrown that one out. But Project 2 is probably going to be my main focus. Just moving on. There's definitely at least a couple bug fixes I need to do on PC. And I got really distracted with the PlayStation launch, but I still want to go back there and fix that. Fix specifically the boombox mode not working with official levels. It's kind of a whole complicated thing with Wise that I have to get back in there and figure out. But do you want to do that? And I've been looking today to see, what kind of issues have popped up on PlayStation. I haven't seen a lot yet. Still kind of waiting for a lot of the data to come in. And it's kind of funny because I feel like, it's very logical that a lot of the people in our Discord, Distance Discord, for example, that they either don't have a PlayStation, don't intend to buy it, or play it on PlayStation. Everybody's, PC players. So that's another weird part of developing for PC is that like on, Steam, there's a forum just built in and people can comment on news posts and stuff like that, but I haven't really seen where the feedback is going to come in on PlayStation. So that'll be interesting. And if you are a PlayStation player, I would obviously love to hear what you think. And if there are issues, I'd love to address them. Like I said, I did an insane amount of testing, and it's, did the best, we could with what we had. But it's a video game, and I don't think I've ever released something that didn't have some small issue. So I'm very prepared to go look into that. But yeah, I'm not going to lie. I'm super excited to work on Project 2, get back into it. So it's the classic case of, I pretty much stopped working on it entirely around like August, September of last year. And I really believed that I was going to have the PlayStation version out, or done by the end of last year. I don't know what I was thinking. Even if I had cut the multiplayer, cut it out, it's like, I don't know. You're just always finding more stuff. So that's game development for you. And yeah, like I said, it was like, you've got the PlayStation version, but now you have the PS5 stuff to, test and worry about, which thankfully the PS5 is basically just a super powerful PS4. So I really appreciate that Sony took that approach. But then, yeah, sorry, reading comments again. I'm behind. Survive the editor event. I definitely had considered doing something with that, but seeing as how there's no level editor on PlayStation, I felt kind of bad if, people would be left out from that. Will Refract be hiring for Project 2? It's very possible. But once again, no big plans. But anyways, yeah, I'm excited to get back to it because I've had so many ideas in the back of my head, so many things I want to try out and get feedback on. Barely anyone has seen anything from that project, so still very much a very closed box there. I have not messed. I don't know if it's pronounced Godot or probably Godot. Is that how you pronounce it? That engine, it kind of Godot. If that's, I don't know why that doesn't sound correct, but if that is it, it really reminds me of what Unity kind of felt like when we started working on Distance, where it was like, hey, this new up and comer is going against Unreal. Godot almost makes sense. Got it. Godot and Godot. That's funny. I have no idea. I have not even downloaded it, but I definitely want to try messing with it at some point. I have also been messing with Unreal. I am definitely one of those people who is the graphics are a very important part of my gaming experiences, whether I like to admit it or not. So I guess I can say this about Project 2 is I have messed with the newest versions of Unity and the newest versions of Unreal, and I have actually not fully made up my mind what technology I want to use, because obviously there's a lot of advantages to both. And Godot, I have not even tried at all. So that's another part of the equation, is I definitely want to at least see what they're doing. Yeah. And yeah, I won't lie, the whole Unity thing, the whole Unity debacle, whenever that was. Yeah. I mean, we know, people at Unity who are very cool, very supportive. Big part of Distance's success is obviously, we've had a lot of success working with Unity. We also have been working with Unity for like a decade. And, sometimes, if you're a tech person, you just want to try other stuff. So, all right, Pineapple is asking how I am. I'm fine. I'm fine. How are you doing, Pineapple? I think I saw a Discord message from you, and I've been so distracted. So I apologize to anyone who's messaged me in the past week. And I'm horribly behind. I have this weekend to look forward to, getting caught up on everything. But I honestly didn't get that much sleep today because I posted all of the announcement stuff. Woo! Richard Silva. Cool dude. Also Robert Francis, extremely cool dude. So fun with the credits. It's like so many names I recognize. Either from, them being in the credits for the past 10 years or just knowing them for real. Anyways, yeah, so today I had epic plans of, I'm definitely, and my sleep schedule is all flipped, as it, always tends to be whenever I'm crunching to get something out. But I'm feeling good. I'm feeling excited. The PlayStation version is out. It seemed impossible at many times over the past couple of years. So the fact that it's out and I'm not really seeing any issues, and we're here and we're streaming, and honestly, the fact that I kind of disappeared and I'm, I was able to come back and was welcomed with open arms, is I really cannot thank the Distance community enough for just the insane support. And John Kimmick, cool guy. Let's see. I probably should just finish this level and move on. But yeah, it's definitely, I don't know. I'm riding high off of the excitement, and the Distance community is excited just to see that I'm alive. I'm excited that all of you are also alive, and I really mean that. But wow, yeah. Yeah, and that's the only downside today, is I feel like I'm not going to be as articulate as I would like to be because I'm kind of running on fumes a little bit here. But like I said, I'm the energy is flowing. I'm absorbing it through the chat here. Least favorite thing I like about Distance. Oh man. Okay, you see that texture right in the back there? Hate that. No, I'm joking. No, I mean, at the end of the day, obviously, when you work on something for so long, there's a million things I think we could have done better or different. But at the same time, there's something so special about Distance in that we really could do whatever on earth we want. And kind of looking back and always thinking, we could have done stuff like 10 times crazier, been a lot riskier. But we just kind of went with our gut, and it was kind of a combination of like surrounding yourself with like genius people, who are coming up with really insanely cool ideas and trying to like match that and, help, and I think even in terms of, working with the team, working, the business side of things, there's obviously so many things we learned, and eventually, as time goes on, you kind of realize you could have done things differently. But I just know we gave it our all. We definitely gave it our all. So I don't think they can say that there's anything that I'm like, because honestly, I mean, if I really truly hate something, probably would have fixed it by now. So that's on me. All right, crab number 1. I love this crab because it's the easiest one to get. Oops, I didn't mean to crash. No, I blew it. All right, I gotta go back so I can really show the text. Of course, I looked at the chat. Oops. Where are you? All right, we'll restart. Do I plan on making more music in the future? Absolutely. It's definitely interesting for the second project in that I would actually say the best case scenarios I have musicians in mind who I think would actually do a better job than me at achieving the dreams I have for the project. But selfishly, I also want to make the music because, you know, it's a very personal thing. So for now, I'm doing the music. But it's, yeah, I don't know. I've been learning a lot. I have a whole new setup for recording guitar and drums, and it's a little janky, but that's something I'd love to experiment more with, is more organic instruments instead of everything being so digital. That's kind of how I started, was drums, guitar, and bass. And I'd love to integrate more of that, and I already have for some Project 2 stuff, but still a lot to do there. So, yeah. And yeah, exactly. Like another perfect example of a person who can make music I am completely incapable of making is the Quiggles. And I think it'd be really fun to work with him again. The legendary Quiggles, as we're listening to right now. I mean, when I'm talking, it's probably turning it down too low, but let's soak in the atmosphere here for a second. Here, hold on. Let me know if this is too loud. Okay. But yeah. And I think it was extremely cool that we were able to do this with this game, where I was able to focus on one part of the game's music and MJ was able to focus on another, but still be able to give feedback for each other. And that's kind of part of what I mean, why I think that there are some musicians out there who probably could do a better job with specific things. But at the end of the day, like, it's definitely like, it's all kind of connected for me when it comes to, you know, visuals and music and all that. And that's kind of like some of the most fun stuff. The only real downside is the time commitment to, okay, so you want to have this cool thing sync to the music. Well, first you have to do you do the music or do you do the visuals? Okay, well, probably start with the music. Okay, now you go do the visuals. Oh, wait, now I actually think the music probably should change because these visuals are really cool, but they don't match the music. And you go back and forth. That process is really time consuming, but also really fun. And I think it's one of the most unique things I get to do. So, was I ever in a band? Technically, I played with other people in groups, but I don't know if I ever was in something that had like an actual band name. I played a lot with my brother, who is an insanely good musician, doing, I think probably still to this day, guitar's like their number one instrument, but they're pretty much good at everything. And I may have talked about this a bit in the past, but it's my younger brother, and pretty much always drove me crazy when we were younger because they they had the whole just could randomly pick up the guitar, listen to a random song, pick up the guitar and just like put it together and just start playing. And I never had that skill. I was always so reliant on tabs and, you know, sheet music and whatnot. Oh my goodness, what level are we on? I'm like just on autopilot. I'm not even collecting the stuff. But yeah, my brother Jacob, still to this day, way better at playing any instrument than I'll probably ever be. And yeah, it was, you know, obviously when I'm younger, I'm like, oh, I'm the older brother. I should be better than him at whatever. And now I'm older and I'm like, man, that was phenomenal that I had someone that I was around all the time who could inspire me like that. So very cool, looking back. And yeah, we had like this random thing where I had a friend from my job. I had a job working as a programmer at a printing company in high school. It's like the most random weird thing. It's the only other job I've ever had. And there was a guy there who we found out played drums. And I don't know how we found out or how that, I don't know how that ever came out. Because he was definitely a very quiet guy. Insanely good at drums. So we would play just like instrumental stuff. We play like Satriani and like kind of rock bluesy stuff, whatever we felt like playing. And my dad was also, he played bass. I really wish we had some recordings from back then because it was definitely fun. But I'm sure I played with like, you know, high school classmates. We have a brother. Oh, I'm sorry. I spilled the beans on that one. Oh man. Yeah, there's a I think California posted a link to Jacob's music, so he actually just released a new song on Spotify, I think. It's like Unfinished Business or something. But yeah. Definitely impressive. And it's funny because I definitely had that thing when I was younger where I was like, oh yeah, I gotta be the best guitarist in the family and all that. And then I just basically intensely pivoted towards electronic music just due to like almost more than anything like technical limitations. It was like really hard to like, you know, be recording a real guitar, and also the stuff we were working on was very in college was, you know, just digital stuff made more sense. And then I ended up working on Electronic Rush and had no idea what I was doing, and then cobbled stuff together. And now that's my job. So you never know. And the new music I'm working on is obviously going to be a bit of a pivot. Again, I'm hoping I can kind of bring something new. But yeah, it's going to be a consistent learning experience. Oh man, what else we got? Oh yeah, Tetris Effect, man. I think Crispy was the one that turned me on to Tetris Effect and changed my life. Definitely recommend. Oh my goodness, definitely recommend Tetris Effect. It is so cool. It's actually funny. For myself, there was a time period kind of at the end of Distance where I was even having a hard time finding games to really enjoy. I definitely was really burned out, so that was a big part of it. But I think another part of it was kind of realizing that, for better or worse, like when it comes to gameplay, I'm just like picky or something, because there's some games that just like I can really get into, but it's actually kind of rare. And Tetris Effect just happened to be one of those. And it was like just really wanted to get the double S on like every single level. So, and Rock Band 2 was also like that for me. Had to get gold stars on every song. I don't think I ever did, but I definitely got close. This is where this, okay. I'm just trying to remember where the hidden stuff is in this level, and I'm like, wait, I have no idea. I might have to come back to this one. Does the console port get the exclusive patron car? I don't think I understand that question, but the backer car is not available on PlayStation. It's only on Steam. If that's what you're asking for. And yeah, I saw some people posting the hours they've logged in distance on Discord the other day, and I think I only have like 4,500 hours on Steam, and I worked on like the workshop implementation, so I had it open constantly. So if you've really put that many hours in, that is really impressive. Probably the closest I've ever got to putting thousands of hours in a game is Rock Band 2 when I was younger. I don't even know how I made time for it, but I just played for like an hour or two, like every single day. And it still was probably only like a couple thousand hours. But I generally don't have the thing in my brain that makes me want to play games over and over. I'm very frequently just like playing, you know, for the story, playing on easy mode. These days I've been getting a little bit better at games, so I actually can play on the normal difficulty. What a crazy thought. Depending on the game. But a lot of times I just play on easy. So is the Sentinel Still Watches is your favorite level? Oops. Of course I'm looking away. It's a pretty cool level. Yeah, I actually... Oh man, that's the tough thing about this. I'm getting my wires crossed in terms of like which level has which unlockable. I can't remember this one at all. There's also so many secret areas. So every time I think, oh, you know, I think I found the secret area where the crab is, or whatever, it turns out to actually be, this is the crazy saw spinning area, or this is the crazy dance party area. So if you've been playing these levels and you're good enough to like go and explore the rest, you got to do it, because there's so much cool stuff. Oh, watch out for those though. Oh yeah, this one's the, oh, okay, wow, sorry. Sorry to the viewers and my poor car. But yeah, level editor is going to be the all right, I gotta focus here. The level editor is definitely going to be the big time sink for most people, I think. I didn't really post it anywhere, but I did do some math, and I think if you were to launch the game and immediately go and get a gold level on gold medal on every level, it would take you like 7 hours bare minimum to play through literally everything. That's assuming you like just never made a single mistake. So on average, I think it would probably take more like 10 hours for most people to play through everything. Or, you know, somewhere around there. But once you start getting into the leaderboard, you get into the level editor. Yeah, that's where the time's going. Oh, wait. I almost forgot. If I can even do it. We're doing a little secret section. Oh, it's so dark I can't see what I'm doing. Okay. There. Oh, almost. Yeah, I'll bounce my way to the success here. And that's also really funny. Who knows how many like hundreds of hours I've put in testing the PlayStation version. You think I'd be like insanely good, but at the end of the day, still nothing compared to the vast majority of people who are, you know, Brianak or whoever. I have no idea. That's so impressive to me how they're able to do that. Oh, 3 hours and 8 minutes is the optimal time. Does that mean like all diamonds? And does that include Adventure and Lost Echoes and stuff? Ah, I missed it. I have tamed this noble steed. And of course, I don't know where the interceptor piece is in here. It's definitely somewhere. Oops. Why did I look at the chat? Why do I keep looking at the chat? All right. Back on track here. Okay, yeah, just sprint mode for that. Wow, that's crazy. The vending machine is in a passage near a bunch of rollers. I feel like I definitely missed it. That's cool. We'll get... I know at least a couple of them that are going to be a little bit easier. And you know what? The one thing though I really want to hear from people is the haptic stuff. And obviously, right now it's just going to be a PlayStation thing. It might be possible to bring that to PC someday, but I wouldn't count on it anywhere around now. But yeah, it's oh man, there's definitely there's always more. You can always do more. Update about other Refract members. I don't know how much they would want me to say, but I just, you know, I know Kyle's still working on Sky. If you haven't played Sky, it's the new it's not new anymore, but it's new to me. It's the follow-up to Journey. Except it's like an online MMO. It's on like pretty much every platform now. They're doing tons of events. Seems like it's going really well, so that's really cool. And yeah, I know Eddie had a game released not that... Oh, wait. I missed it. I missed it already. Oh, it's probably too far back. I was going to get the crab. Yeah, I might as well do the Zelda Easter egg. I mean, not Zelda. That's definitely not in here. Definitely no way. This is just a generic fantasy reference, of course. Sorry, let's see. I know Eddie was working on a game called Light Brigade that shipped. It was really cool VR roguelike. And I know he's working on something new, but I definitely don't want to say anything about it because I don't know how much is public. And Laura's doing extremely cool VFX stuff. The name of the company, I'm going to get it wrong, so I'm not going to say what it is, but I'm sure it's on their Twitter. And I don't know, I actually need to catch up with a few people to make sure I'm fully up to date, because obviously Jason actually moved over to Bungie, working on Destiny 2. And last I knew, Andrew was still working at 343. So everybody's doing crazy stuff. Crispy released a game on Steam a while ago. that Radical Road, very cool, very simple little one button game, I think you would say. But yeah, actually, I mean, honestly, so for today's stream, I had the idea that it would be cool to get a bunch of guests, and then I opted against it because I already knew there's a decent chance. I haven't streamed in 5 years. There's a decent chance there could be technical issues, and even just getting the PlayStation to record and everything. I didn't want to drag a bunch of people through all that, but I would love to have some guests in a future stream. So we'll see who is available and interested. I'm sure I could get at least a couple people to join, and yeah. Yeah, there we go. Maybe for Distance Advent Calendar, we can go nuts. Oh, let's see. What else? Man, I don't even know how long I've been going here. So, okay, cool. Hour and a half. Probably go for another half an hour to finish out the campaigns at least. Yeah, how are you all doing? I mean, I know some people have gotten married. Some people have, done big moves, and I'm sure people have lived a lot of life in the past 5 years since I streamed. Yeah, and it's been 10 years since the launch. Every time someone says, wow, I was like 10 when this came out, and now I'm 20 or something, I'm like, oh my goodness. All right, Ellie's doing good. Pineapple's an adult, so it's horrible. That's a bummer. Wouldn't know what that's like. Someone, Star Hoarder, had a BFF for the past nearly 4 years. Pretty cool. People making music. Yeah, there you go. I was in high school when I discovered Distance. Now I have a job. The tragedy of it all. But no, good for you. And that's honestly, yeah. I mean, I've seen it. A certain. Okay, I kind of like. This is actually kind of hard. 1 second here. I'm gonna focus for a second. Please keep telling me what's going on in your lives, though. Okay. We're gonna sneak back here. And it's also kind of funny because I put all this effort into streaming. That makes me be like, hey, I should probably stream more because I put all this work in to get this working. Oh, and the like orb visualizer thing. I definitely have a lot of thoughts on stuff I'd like to do with it. So this is definitely a V1 or technically V2, I guess. But any thoughts on that would obviously be appreciated because there's a lot of stuff I could do with it. But yeah, just a fun little experiment. Nice. I'm reading the comments now, and I'm gonna do a very nice, relaxing flight back to the road here. People messing with Game Maker. Learned how to make proper New York style pizza. That's awesome. I've been really meaning to make a Chicago deep dish pizza in like a cast iron pan for the longest time. Doesn't even seem like it probably would be that hard. But I haven't done it yet, and that reminds me, I really need to try that. Congratulations to the people who have graduated college. And people who are, for those who are not having the best time these days, I'm sorry to hear that. Hope you stay safe and can get through it. I'm definitely glad that people are able to use distance as a de-stress game. Obviously, I've like Tetris Effect was that for me for a while. Feel like it does like make a lot of sense for distance. It's funny, that's the only downside to distance is that I've never really been able to play it properly, just purely as a fan. Can't shut off the developer part of my brain, but I'd say the closest for me to that is playing workshop levels. It just really feels like I'm playing someone else's game sometimes, and that's extremely cool. All right, don't mess this up this time. Woo! Oh, there we go. Man, that is a crazy effect. Hello. Can we get an option in multiplayer to increase or decrease the 60-second timer? And I'll think about it. I might as well write that one down, actually, because that's probably not that crazy of an idea. And checkpoint. Okay. Sorry, I'm opening up my notepad here. Oh, I lost the Twitch chat. Where'd it go? Oh, there it goes. Okay. But yeah, I mean, another thing I guess that I should say I'm really appreciative is everyone who submitted levels. It was a while ago now, but they submitted levels for the workshop update, the community level update. And that was such a massive help because obviously with 5,000 levels, you know, you can only play through so many. And it not only was it helpful to have people submit, but then having the stream team, Pineapple and crew figure out, you know, the actual stream situation for that. It was super, super helpful. And they also wrote a bunch of extra feedback. So that made my life so much easier. I mean, it's like I was saying, it's like I'm kind of on the edge when it comes to, you know, video game gameplay, where I feel like my tastes are just, you know, a lot of times with this game, I really feel like I had to lean way more on everyone else in terms of saying, is this actually fun? Is this actually good and interesting? Because I can enjoy things that other people do not find fun at all. But then, you know, vice versa. It's like, I may not get the appeal of a level, and they're like, no, this is like the most fun thing I've ever played. So I definitely was doing my best to include a spectrum of experiences that I feel like are high quality. I think that's pretty straightforward to figure out. Oh, snap. Had to go for the fancy move and it failed. But yeah, getting that external perspective was just so helpful. So really appreciate that. Who did the sound design and audio implementation, yourself and why? So yeah, it was me, for the most part. And Eddie definitely contributed some sound effects. I think most of it ended up being used in Lost to Echoes, but definitely some really cool sounds in there. And then obviously MJ did music for Lost to Echoes. So, but yeah, the rest of the audio would have been me, which is fun. Do a credit card skip. Oof. I don't know if I'm cut out for that. Man, where? Okay, what credit card skip would require is for me to like remember. You gotta use the lasers to get super thin, and then there's like some random hole in the ceiling somewhere, and then you sneak your way out, and somehow. Do you play as the thin car for the whole rest of the level? It's crazy. What software did I use to make sound effects? Obviously, there were some sound libraries being used, and there were some sounds that were recorded just with our own microphones. But for the most part, Ableton Live ended up being, and Audacity, free program Audacity, but Ableton Live is kind of my go-to for pretty much everything. And it doesn't like make perfect sense when you're doing like sound, music type work, but I'm so familiar with it, so it just makes sense, and I use it for everything. I basically, I'd say Audacity and Ableton, whenever I'm working on audio, they're probably both open. Can we get a crash meow as an audio event in the game? That is a fun idea, because I need to torture the rest of you with what I hear outside my door all night. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, that's a cool idea. I'll definitely have to write that one down. The Crash Announcer Pack. Interesting. That one... that will be a fun day of recording, that's for sure. Oh, man. I'm trying to read the comments while still playing. Yeah, I mean, I'll definitely consider the Unity 2020 thing. I think my main concern, and actually I know I saw some comments about why the Ancient build got taken down, and honestly, the main reason for that more than anything is it's very similar to my issues with the Unity 2020, which is the number of people who played, they play the game normally, then they go play the Ancient build, and then they come back and now their save day is all messed up, and it's like not cool. Honestly, I feel like that's very fair that you wouldn't expect that to be an issue, and then it's I don't know, I just if I was a player I would be really bothered by that. So one way or another, my thought was either I somehow figure out how to make it so that the Ancient build like doesn't save or something, which maybe it's possible, but really the Ancient build, the only way that it kind of was able to exist was the fact we were just able to access every Ancient build on Steam, so you could pretty easily swap back to it. But yeah, exactly. If I would have to do like the only way I can think to do that, as crazy as it is, I'd have to go get Unity 4 and then like go, assuming that's what that version was using, I have to figure out how to like prevent the saving. That's very impressive that you have a backup of every game version. I technically, I was gonna say, yeah, I should have access to every Ancient build through Steam and through our own, version repository, but it gets really overwhelming, obviously. And now I've got PlayStation as a whole nother. I've got Ancient PlayStation builds, which I actually would love to like fire up one of these days just out of my own curiosity, to see if anything feels different. Okay, so the Ancient build DRM free version didn't have the level editor? I guess that makes sense. Are we talking about why Ableton Live is awesome? So I guess to be clear though, this is a really strange thing, and maybe someone else has had this experience. Excuse me. That I upgraded. I think I'm using Ableton Live 9, and I for Project 2 I upgraded to Ableton Live 11, and I can't use it. Like I'm having the weirdest chuggy performance issues with that. So I still have it installed, and there's some features I really, really love using. Like you can do groups of groups. Like that is like the coolest thing ever. And you can also like take like auto, what was it I was trying to do? MIDI automations or something, and you can like scale them together. There's so many cool new features, so I still use it for those every once in a while. But for the most part, I'm still using Ableton Live 9 because it runs so insanely well on my computer in comparison. So that's the only caveat I would have to toss out there, is I cannot fully vouch for the newest versions of Ableton Live because I've had a lot of weird issues. But I still love everything else they've done. Back in the day, what did I used to use? Did I use Reaper? I used a lot of random stuff, but I ended up just sticking with Ableton because I was able to basically do everything I wanted with it. And I also would use Ableton a lot when I was working on the arcade cabinets or any of like the custom visuals for our expo booths, like PAX and whatnot, because you could so easily just output to MIDI and sync different things. And it's a crazy program. If I just had Ableton Live and Serum, I'm 90% of the way there probably. I did get Omnisphere somewhat recently. I got Isotope stuff. And I've barely messed with it, but there was... Is the Teensy code still in... Oh, I looked away. Teensy code still in the game for the lights? I have no idea. It's not in the PlayStation version, I'm fairly sure. It's probably not in the PC version. Oh, maybe it is, though. Because I wanted to make it so that if the people who own the arcade cabinets wanted to update to the newest version, they could, but I can't really test that. So I definitely gave them like a DRM free build, though, that was like for sure good. So they had that. But yeah, Digipen today posted that they still have the arcade cabinet set up in like the little like break room area, and it's like, that's so cool. I'm actually jealous because we have a really old arcade cabinet, the V0 version that I think we took to PAX 2014, and the newer versions that we made were just such a massive step up. So I probably should just go over to Digipen one of these days and just start playing. Yeah, don't mind me. I'm just here for fun. More than anything, it's the lights that I'm excited about. It was so fun to work on. Oh. Getting a copy of the schematics of the cabinet, I don't have anything like that personally. So if anybody would, it'd be Jason. And it's possible that he has Blender files or something. But off the top of my head, I have no way how to access or release that information. Visited the Distance booth at PAX East and asked if they played Nitronic Rush at Distance. They had no idea what you were talking about. I mean, Nitronic Rush did come out in like 2011, so it's been a while. It's fair. There was a time period for a little while after Nitronic Rush came out where definitely everyone was decently aware of it, but I feel like Digipen has definitely pivoted a bit. And I'm not 100% sure. Not 100% sure like what the big projects are now, or even if that's like as big of a thing as it used to be, because I think the main thing for forever with Digipen was like, oh, we always win awards, and we always, we make our games from scratch and they win awards. And I feel like things kind of changed because they kind of pivoted towards using Unity and working with bigger teams, and they tried all kinds of different stuff. So definitely curious if Nitronic Rush is even relevant to them anymore. But I'm really glad they still have the arcade cabinet set up for people to play, because that is extremely cool. Oh man, the people saying that Distance is a ripoff of Nitronic Rush is like such a funny accidental compliment. Like, first off, the fact that you even know about Nitronic Rush is very impressive. And I'm just glad the spirit of that game still lives on. I did include text about Nitronic Rush on the PlayStation Store just to be safe, because I figured there was a pretty decent chance that people would see it and be like, what? Why are they just stealing Nitronic Rush and putting it on here? I hope it feels more like an upgrade than a ripoff. That is such a good point, though. You know what's funny, though? I actually don't really know why Nitronic Rush never got put on Steam. Because they definitely did that with other games, but I don't know. My hands are already full with Distance. So if someone wants to figure that out, they can go for it. But honestly, that game's like really, really old at this point. I don't even... I hope it runs okay on modern machines, but I feel like there's a decent chance it could have issues. Oh, that's true, though. There is so much like copyrighted stuff in Nitronic Rush. There's like direct references. There's even like the Reddit logo in some random level. The DeLorean's just fully in there. So, probably for the best, actually. We didn't really think that people would play it. It was really not made for the world. It was later, you know, like I think updates were made to kind of like fix some issues, but yeah, surprise. People seem to like it. Oh, good night, Mr. Wallopy. Glad you could hang out. Yeah, Narbacular drop. Now we're talking. Now we're talking. All right. Well, there it was. All the campaign levels. Well, now we obviously have to play Too Many Dots because there's just too many dots. Too Many Dots to me, I actually, I don't even know this for sure. Is there a level called Dots? And this is like a bigger, crazier version of it? When we were playing through recommended levels, I'm sure this was in the list, but it really didn't have that many like reviews on Workshop from what I remember. And I was like, this is like the coolest level ever. I mean, every level is the coolest level ever the first time you play it, but I don't know what it is. This. Oh, you know what I really like doing though? As much as I absolutely love hearing my own music, assuming it's my own music, I don't have headphones on at the moment, but playing this with just the ambient sounds, so good. And I will admit I did not think super hard about people trying to get a diamond time on this one and thinking, oh yeah, it's like really, really hard to grind. But you know what? It had to be included. This is such a cool level. And there's also like a dark mode. Yeah, it's crazy. And I was like, I don't even know, the diamond time's like 10 minutes or 8 minutes or something. And I don't know. I think the first time I played this level probably was like half an hour or so. I don't even know if I want to play literally all of it right here, but. And then there's this where you can see the layout and the controller makes a sound. It's so cool. And then we were even asking, like, are the dots randomly placed? How did they do this? And honestly, I still don't really know. I assumed they were all manually placed. But yeah, the hint system, if you can't figure it out, it'll help you out. So you'll definitely get them all eventually. All right. See you later, Artem. Thanks again for hanging out. Thanks for the best wishes on Project 2. Definitely cannot wait to share more about that. But it's gotta do things in the right order. Oh yeah, my thoughts on Macros Diamond Time. I have been meaning to talk to Crispy about that. I've just been so busy. I'm probably going to leave that in up to Crispy's judgment, but I definitely understand that it is abnormally hard. And I'm sure, I mean, at the end of the day, I should just try to get the diamond myself just to, but I like already kind of know there's a really good chance that just like won't happen. But yeah, the for like many years ago, I joked about us getting the yeah, I guess I could do it right now. The Get Good update. Um and it's kind of what I have in my head for the next update. That it's all like ridiculously hard levels, but hopefully they're not unfairly hard. Obviously, uh, that's the dream. Will it be possible to, or sorry, will it be possible to one day be able to mess with some of the pre-alpha builds of Distance? I mean, I guess I'm curious what the intention is there. Like, are you basically just wanting other ancient builds? I don't actually. I really don't know how this works, but I have heard somewhere that you can access old Steam builds, like anyone can. Because I've seen people do it for other games, so I don't know if that's a thing for Distance or not. I've never looked into it. Yeah, maybe setting the diamond to be a super easy, like if you just finish the level at all, you get a diamond. That would be pretty funny. Yeah, definitely gonna want to do like an experimental build, and we'll flesh some of this out. Um, because it's definitely I mean basically my thought at the moment, and I am definitely curious if other people had strong opinions on it, but I definitely wanted to include a few random insanely hard levels, and I don't I thought basically instead of like because there's the gold medal collector achievement that kind of gets in the way of like some levels that just like Distance 2, if I was going to include that level, there's obviously no medal time, or maybe there is a medal time if you finish by us. I don't know. But I was mostly just thinking, what if there was a category that just medals don't matter, like leaderboards might still be a thing, um, but it doesn't factor into like any other the other achievements or anything like that. But yeah, using SteamDB, you can gather depot manifest IDs and download manually as long as the build is public. So I don't know if that means you can just go download the ancient build right now or not, but if you can, then maybe you could try that. Because I mean, the main thing I'm just trying to reduce is, obviously there's like the Discord community who is very in the know and very like connected, and everybody's talking to each other, and it's easier to communicate with all of you. But then there's just people on Steam who will never see any of this, and they will click on ancient build, and it will destroy their save file, and they will be very confused. And that's the kind of stuff I want to avoid. Yeah, we do the get in the hole, an entire sprint level set, just get in the hole 1 through 5. And I was a little on the edge about including glide in the hole in terms of requiring it for a medal, but you can definitely do it. It's not that crazy. Well, I guess in terms of I'm not sure if I fully. Oh yeah, I'm definitely not going to get a diamond while I'm like looking at the. I'm just going to play through it normally the first time, and you'll see how I am not remotely prepared. Actually, yeah, this one. Oh my goodness, I just testing this one normally is already kind of hard. This level. I mean, I really do love this level. It's really cool, especially the ending. Yeah. This is gonna be a bronze, I think. At least you still have your wings, though. I mean, honestly, no, I wouldn't. I think it'd be fun to do a grinding stream. Might be boring for almost everyone, but it's something that, yeah, exactly. I mean, like about a month ago when I was really playing the game a lot and I was having to play like the other side and stuff a lot. I probably could do like way better at this. I'm really curious what my best time is on this because it's probably not that good. But keeping cool with this is like completely insane. Oh, sorry. I'm like, I gotta get caught up. There's so much discussion. Do I still have the long beard? No, I don't. I still have a beard, but I think it was 2021. I cut it off. Yeah. It was a time. It was a time. But you know, I'm okay not having any more. There were a lot of I don't know if I should say negatives, but it's like, you know. Let's just say seatbelts were kind of annoying. So, can't say I highly recommend it, but it was a fun time. I'm glad everybody else was able to enjoy it. Oh, I'm not looking. Oh, restructuring each. Getting the whole room as a challenge level. Okay, well, that would be a lot of levels, but that would be interesting. Okay. So I think I'm caught up here. Yeah, the nonsense maps. Oh my goodness. NWBO. I mean, I think it's really cool that with like Zenith or whichever one was that we were able to, oh, why did I jump? That was weird. We were able to get in some integration of thruster boost flight, whatever it's called now, grip flight. Do you guys remember thruster boosting? Oh man, oh my goodness. Okay. Yeah, I like really need to watch a replay. Sadly, I am on the I'm on a dev kit technically. So I don't, like I said, I don't have access to the replays here. But I definitely need to check it out later. Oh, that's not how that works. Okay. I love this area. It's so cool. And then I just bounce right off of it. Ugh. I'm telling you, I was really good at this game at one point. And you know what? I really would like to work on more distance content someday, but I really feel like I need, I don't know. I feel like for that one, I really need to be working with like other people from the team or something because my levels are just, they're fine at best. I think I can add really cool things to other people's levels. Oh, this is so cool. But come on. Crispy is the master. Woo! Yeah, amusement. Oh my goodness. Didn't even get bronze. Ugh. I was looking at the chat. I was distracted. Oh man. But yeah, there are global replays on PlayStation. There are definitely some limitations to the replays that I don't know if I posted anywhere, and I might have to look into that at some point. But they're obviously very similar to the ones on Steam. Will I ever consider re-attending conventions in the future? Absolutely. I think what would be the last conventions we did? 2017. So it has been a long time. Um, yeah, it's definitely like it's just been interesting. Even releasing this on PlayStation, it's like kind of that blend of like, hey, you should talk, telling press and whatnot. Hey, you should talk about this game. I know it's like 10 years old, but like it's still pretty cool. It's not actually 10 years old, but the the convention part of it, it's like people really want to see like new stuff. So if nothing else, I'm really excited to potentially show a new project at a convention, Indie Mega Booth or Gamescom, Indie Arena, whatever, whoever will have us. But that's still probably going to be a little ways off. And yeah, you probably saw that crazy error. That was like just because I don't have the networking set up for this dev kit right now. Oh yeah, Mega Booth got closed. Oh no, I forgot. Is it actually like completely done or man, I gotta look into that. Yeah, and I was really tempted to go to PAX this year, but then I just didn't. I mean, I'm assuming the tickets are sold out. I think I just missed out. Yeah, I feel like pretty much everyone in the Discord is an honorary developer at this point. Why not? You're all so helpful. But yeah, I don't know. It's funny because I know a lot of the questions today are not about distance; they're about the next thing, and I obviously wish that I could announce it all right here and right now, but I think one launch at a time is enough for me. All right, what it says scroll up. What am I scrolling up for? You mean in the chat or in the game? Oh, sure. I mean, yeah. So like the PlayStation version is definitely going to be a minimal version of the normal game. So obviously campaign looks exactly the same. Arcade should look basically the same except that there's no categories because it's all just there's no workshop levels or my levels or anything like that. But you can still obviously sort by name and search and all that good stuff. And there's no workshop level category here. Trackmogrify works the same, except obviously you can now do that, which is kind of cool. What else? And then split screen is basically the same. The garage is basically the same. And then options. So audio options is going to look very similar if you're like not on Windows. There's no custom music support. I hadn't really looked into it too much, but I don't have a clue how I would access like Spotify or something in the background. It would be extremely cool if I could do that. Um, general options, I think. Oh wait, general options on PC. There's probably like a lot more for like boombox and stuff like that. So that's that. Controls. Oh my goodness, everybody's asking about Machine 17 and Project 2. You know what? Maybe it will be there. In I okay, I can pretty much guarantee it's not going to be a part of like the story campaign. But if there's like an extra thing, an extra bonus thing, well, maybe why not? I did all that work to like do a extended version of it. Got to really milk it at this point. And the incredible MJ remix. Uh Project 2 will have a campaign confirmed. I can't even confirm that. But I think it would be nice if there was a campaign. I hope there's something for people to do. So ironically, I wasn't planning on having custom controls, or I was thinking I wouldn't have custom controls on PlayStation because I was convinced for some reason that there was a TCR that or TRC, whatever PlayStation calls it, that wouldn't allow custom controls. And I like realized one day there isn't one. So I was like, oh, so I actually took it out and then I put it back in. There are some obviously limitations in terms of, it's, you can't choose your devices, but you definitely can create your own schemes and Go nuts. Oh, you can't change any of the menu options because obviously you have to like have some of the buttons that like work for sure. But everything else is customizable. So if you really want L3 to be gas, you got it. And then video settings, probably a bit of a surprise to people if you saw how many we had on PC. We kept it simple. A big part of that is just it's really nice to know that the performance works exactly the same for everybody. It helped a lot with testing and whatnot. Yeah, so at least at the moment, that's what it is. Replay options, very similar, I think. And then cheats, which I've unlocked quite a few. But I think all the normal ones are in here. Yeah, Project 2 might exist, and it might have a campaign, and it might have music, and it might have a story. And it might be interactive. Those are about all the things I can confirm / deny. Yeah, and I would say in terms of graphics settings, the one literally like when you're playing on the PS5 or I think the PS4 Pro is very similar in that it's basically just playing a maxed out distance on PC, except for real-time reflections because it just is so extremely not performant. So, and it's a very minimal effect, all things considered. I mean, if you can run it, it's extremely cool. But yeah. Anyways, I'm thinking about winding down here. It's been 2 hours, and that's kind of what I had in my head. And I feel like I've answered a lot of the questions. So yeah, Distance 1.0 coming to Steam Greenlight in 2027. Please vote. We definitely want to get it up on the store as soon as possible. Actually, I was looking through some old stuff, and I think I had in a press release somewhere that we were successfully greenlit, and I was like, what does that even mean? Oh, right. That's how that used to work. Wow. It has been a long time since then. That's crazy, though. The fact that, you do the Kickstarter campaign, and then you do the Greenlight campaign, and then you do the Early Access campaign, and then... Oh, why is the game only available in certain regions? So my minimal understanding of how that all works is that I'm set up with Sony of America and Sony of Europe to release the game, and those are the only groups that I can release in at the moment. And I made it available in every region they allowed me to make it available in. And if a game releases in America or in Europe and is normally available in that region, I might have done something wrong, but I did my best. Unfortunately, the game is not localized in anything. It's just in English. The marketing text is localized in several languages for the store page to meet their requirements, but the actual game itself isn't, so that might be a limitation. They might not just allow it to be sold in certain countries. I actually really don't know. So if you have a specific region you'd really like me to consider, please let me know what it is. Asia and South America. Yeah, I think it's mostly Asia that you have to have your game fully localized in that language for specific countries. So we currently can't do that. If the game does well, and if we can afford to do like full localization, then maybe, but I just wouldn't plan on it right now. Have I played Balatro? I have heard that name many times, but I actually have no idea what it is. So I'm definitely gonna have to look into it. Oh, what was the thought process behind naming the menu script Super Duper Menu? I'm assuming that's the dynamic menu system, and that is a super... I'm going to say it's a Jason Nolan thing. It's definitely a Nolan name. probably Jason. So you'd have to ask them and what is going on inside that brilliant mind to come up with such a name. But I think the general idea was that all the menus that we made were probably like most of them were mine at one point, and they just were very like extremely specific. And then we had the idea that like we should make this more dynamic so we can way more easily add and remove stuff. And then slowly we started to convert, various ones over. So a name had to be chosen. And if you've worked in entertainment at all, you quickly realize that naming things is exhausting and hard. So sometimes you just name something fun. You just roll with it. Poker as a roguelike. Oh, I actually don't even know how to play poker. I mean, I have a guess on how, but I've basically I've never played it. So guess I'll have to look into it. Pacific. I have heard of Pacific Drive. I definitely would like to play it at some point. Not gonna lie, the main thing I'm really looking forward to, now that Distance is done, is playing the Elden Ring DLC. So, for the longest time, I did specifically Eddie, I think, more than anybody. But obviously I knew a lot of people that really, really loved like Dark Souls and roguelikes and, that Souls likes. And, I didn't get it at all. Like, I just was very much like, that is so brutally hard. I don't know how you find any enjoyment of that. And I don't know what happened, but, Elden Ring has fully converted me over, and I'm on the other side now. And I probably would still really struggle with the older Dark Souls and stuff, but like, I can actually kind of play them now. So I'm a little scared to play the DLC, because I've heard nothing except it's brutally hard. So obviously right up my alley. Person who plays games on easy, usually. Shadow of the Hard Tree, yes. But if I can complete macro, I probably can do anything. Oh, the game Ultra Kill. I also need to play that. I'm sure I've heard the music here and there. Man, I got to write all these down. Inscription. Another game to play. Yeah, so there was a game that came out yesterday called Skim, I think it's pronounced. That one looked really cool. Would like to try that. It's like a game where you're jumping between shadows. What else? Yeah, I need to do a stream where I'm just playing games, because kind of like I was saying, I was really struggling with games for the longest time, and now I have tons that I'm excited about, and I haven't had that much time with the PlayStation launch to do that much, or as much as I would probably like to. So yeah, I think I'm definitely super backlogged. Yeah, it's weird, honestly. I am really, really excited to get back to work on Project 2, and I'm sure next week I'm going to be working on it at least a little bit. I know there's going to be a lot of catch up to, put the bow on the PlayStation launch, make sure there's no obvious issues, and I have a couple PC things, but oh, hello, whoever's rating. Predatory Balloon. You caught us right at the end here. Yeah, so biggest things to stay looking out for would be some music related stuff from Project 2. Hopefully find something we can do with a distance level update. I would say it's probably not going to be exclusively hard levels. It's going to be exclusively odd or different levels. I mean, and therefore probably, sneaking in some harder ones as well. But I definitely have a handful that just didn't make any sense. Or not that it didn't make any sense, but I was I would love to include them in the PlayStation build, but I'm going to hold off. So that's kind of in the back of my head. And will there be a SoundCloud release for the Isolation remix? Yeah, just stay tuned. I'll talk more about how that's going to get released at some point. It'll make sense eventually. What else? I guess that's pretty much it for today. But yeah, thanks for all the game recommendations. Thank you so much for hanging out, and for the millionth time, thank you for all the love and support. Um, I said it earlier, and I really cannot say it enough, that the fact that I was able to take time to, work on my own mental health, work on my physical health after distance, kind of figure out, the future, take time to figure out, all the multiplayer stuff with PlayStation. And I think people have been really kind about the whole process. And then not only that, but just seeing so many of the same faces as, excited as ever. It's magical, and I really want to keep working on stuff this year and keep in communication. I would love to potentially post more on social media. I've been kind of avoiding social media for a while because obviously I was trying to improve my mental health, so that was not necessarily the best place to do that. But I think I'm starting to get into the groove of it again. So yeah, lots and lots of cool stuff. Yeah, really, really, really appreciate all the kind words here. So yeah, all right. Well, hope you all have a great weekend. And if you play the PlayStation version, please let me know what you think. If nothing else, I want to know what people think about the haptics, because I know Crispy liked the haptics, and I've had a handful of people play them, and I was pretty happy with how they came out. And I that's always kind of a funny thing that I have no idea how to show that off on stream, but I think it's a really cool way to make the game that much more immersive. And yeah, otherwise, take it easy, everyone. I'm gonna be playing some Elden Ring maybe this weekend, and hopefully I'll be able to do something more like this fairly soon. All right, see y'all later.